Hello, welcome to Ship Nuggets. I'm really excited to bring this video to you. And as you know, we've been talking about relationships. Yes, the ship of relationship. So as we've been saying, life happens in the context of relationships. We're all connected. The sun, moon, stars, the entire universe is connected. We as humans are connected. God himself is connected. So relationships is a very, 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 very important ship that we need to learn how to not only cultivate, but how to manage. Because when you look at life, you see that everything revolves around relationships. And if our relationships are not properly managed, it could have some detrimental effects. So today I want to just talk about a very vital ingredient of relationship. I think I've talked about this before, but I think it's worth mentioning again, and that's trust. Trust is very, very key in relationship development. You cannot build a very successful relationship. You cannot build a great relationship without trust. And all you have to do is give someone a reason not to trust you, and that relationship is over, depending on the individual's threshold for disappointment. But yeah, trust is key. Trust is key. And one thing that people don't realize is we have these high expectations of outcomes for our relationship, but yet we violate principles of trust. You cannot violate principles of trust and expect your relationship to blossom. It's just not going to work. So what are some things that we can do to help us with building trust? I have a book that I'm just reading here, and it is called The Rare Leadership, and it's by Marcus Wiener and Jim Wilder. Very good book I picked up, and they talk about 4 uncommon habits for increasing trust, joy, and engagement in the people you lead. It's a very good book. One of the things they actually talk about the fact that, in building trust in relationship, we must make a decision to be relational. So like in the last video, I talked about intentionality in relationships, intentionality in pursuing relationships and making connection. And with trust, you just have to not give up on people. You just have to not give up on whether or not somebody's going to disappoint you. You have to be relationally focused in the sense that, listen, even if someone's going to disappoint me today, even if somebody's going to offend me, I am not going to give up on people as a whole. Yes, am I going to avoid some shady characters? Am I going to avoid certain people who may not mean me well? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not going to give up on humanity as a whole just because I got disappointed or just because somebody broke my trust. You have to make that decision up way in advance in your mind that, listen, I know people have the ability to offend me and to break my trust, but I'm not going to use their lack of adherence to or lack of being trustworthy as a way to disqualify the entire universe or the entire human race from making connection with me. So that's one very, very important part of it. Just resolving your mind that, yeah, trust is key, but I'm liable to have my trust broken, and that's just life. But then I'm not going to allow that to spoil my overall view of life. Another aspect of it is, authenticity, just being yourself. I think one of the reasons why trust is easily broken is because we fail to accept who we are. Accept yourself, accept who God has made you to be. And when people disappoint you, I know it may be hurtful, but then you have to think about the fact that you've got something good in your life that's worth living for. So another thing is just look for the joy in life. If you are constantly walking around thinking that somebody's going to disappoint you, well, the likelihood that somebody will disappoint you is going to be very high. But if you go around having a positive attitude in spite of the fact that people may disappoint you, you'll find out that that provides some kind of cushion even when things happen. So what is this thing about trust? How do we build trust? First of all, we just have to have this mindset that everyone is capable of making mistakes. Everyone is capable of breaking the trust. Everyone is capable of offending you. Everyone is capable of making, of putting you down, for lack of a better word. So that's on that. The second thing is we have to be confident in ourselves, confident in who God has made us to be. Because when someone breaks your trust, it can be so painful that it can affect the very core of our existence. It can affect who you are as an individual. So we want to make sure that there's that internal security in terms of who you are and that confidence in who you are. When you trust somebody, you're relying on them. You're putting your entire weight on them. And, trust is very, 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 very vital, in relationship. How do you trust people? Well, you have to practice. You have to delegate sometimes, delegate your assignments, delegate certain things, and watch people over time. See how they respond, and you'll be able to determine whether these people are trustworthy. Look at their track record. Look at how they relate with other people. Look at how they connect with other people. And then you'll be able to say, okay, this person is not trustworthy. See how they handle their stuff. See how they handle other people's stuff. And that will help you make an informed decision on whether or not you want to trust them. Trust is essential. But what I want to say to leaders, I want to encourage you is, you're never going to know people who they are unless you give them the opportunity for them to break your trust. I like what someone said to me recently. Said, I will always trust you until you give me a reason not to trust you. And once you give me a reason not to trust you, I will still give you some rope. But after that rope, then you've given me a reason not to trust you. So we always have to start from the standpoint of trust and then work our way back. So that's just all I have for us today. Let's look at trust. I know in 7 minutes or so video, that's really not enough to capture all we need to talk about regarding trust. But I want you to understand that, listen, you have to give people a chance. Even if you've been hurt, and in life has been tough, people have broken your trust, or people have not been trustworthy around you, then you want to do some evaluation. You want to look at introspectively. You want to also look outside as well and say, okay, what's going on? How has this happened? And then you want to also try and practice trusting again, because let me tell you, life has to keep on moving on. So you can't just wallow in that incident and allow it to slow your life down. So that's all I have for us today. Leaders, keep trusting. People keep trusting. Everyone just keep trusting in this ship of relationship. And, I believe that life is going to be great. So till we see you again next time, keep sailing to the top.